Yeah, man. Another week, another story in the world of Caitlin Clark. Um, man, all I wanted to do was become a fan of a basketball player. I found him, pretty entertaining. James, that's all I wanted.
I'm about this close. She's not the free space because the free space in the culture wars is Donald Trump, but like she's this close to like in like the race grifter war bingo card. Like OJ Simpson's already on there. Caitlin Clark's gonna be a tile on that fucking thing. On that 5x5, she's gonna be wanted by the time the year's out. She's quickly trending that way. Man, I feel like this is such a non-story outside of the part where like she's been a lightning rod, or the stuff from people talking about her has been the discourse more than her actually. And I don't know what are your takes on this in general. Now I'll just work off whatever you have to say.
So, Caitlin Clark did not make Team USA.
Right.
So that is obviously the United States women's basketball team for the Olympics,
Yeah.
and it was a big thing because I thought she would make it, but she didn't, and I thought
I
of a lot of reasons why she would make it,
right.
but
Right. Like I didn't. I'll let you go in a second. But I thought I didn't know if she was gonna make one or the other. But like if she had made it, it wouldn't surprise me for the reasons you're about to say. I imagine. Go ahead.
yeah, like, and I don't know. You mentioned the culture war thing, and I'm like, yo, I feel really awkward right now because, like, I'm sharing some real estate with people I normally would never get down with or whatever, simply because I like the player. I feel like I'm using my brain, and I'm not engaging in any of the foolishness that they are, where they're using it as a proxy to talk about how much they hate women, how much they hate the WNBA, how much
And bullshit like reverse racism.
yeah, like I feel like there are a million different
On a team
arguments.
that has three white women on it,
It's
at
like
least
it's not
four.
often that I
Where's my
find
Kelsey Plum?
myself on the same side as Jason Whitlock. It's not often
Oof,
that I find
body
myself,
blow.
sharing space with Dave Portnoy in outkick
Oof,
coverage and several other
oof,
motherfuckers like that. It was like,
oof.
you know, Emmanuel Aiko and shit. Like, I'm like, hold on, man. This is not me. Like, this is why I feel like nuance is needed because,
Right.
like, I think people have gone so far in every relative direction for this. It's largely insane. Like, just
Yep.
when you think, I don't know. Personally, I think she should have been on the team just for, um, like, history for one. How many times are you ever going to get Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark as teammates anywhere at the same time? And you do it for the photo op for the history of time. Um, that's just one small reason I thought of. But, you know, I think it's a lot of small thinking. Like people that have been, come out very opposed to this, I think it's just small thinking. Like they're not, like they'd almost rather take the stairs, by themselves. I came up with the analogy like this thing is like, they're living on the fourth floor, right? They just went grocery shopping and they had $400 in orders and they were like, we're gonna make one trip carrying it up the stairs. Are we going to use this elevator that will allow us to bring everything up there at once and, ease strain on ourselves and also give us a quick path to where we want to get to, which is ultimately you want the game to explode. You want, the rights, everything with the money to explode for the
As many
individual
eyes
player
on it as
salaries
possible to make it more attractive to advertisers and therefore more
and raise the
money
profile of the
from
league. It's like
yeah, yeah.
there's a path that's being offered, but they're like, no, we insist on taking the stairs at every and when we get to the top of those stairs, we are all gonna be better for it. Like, and I just don't get it. Like Paul Pierce had a great point when he was like, he just said something like, "This is bigger than the game of basketball itself, or whatever. Like, this is not strictly about, um, hey, who's the very best player that needs to be in this situation?" Because like a lot of weird reporting came out on this. I believe it was Christine Brennan, and there were veteran players that spoke on the condition of anonymity. And she was reporting that the players thought that the fans would be mad at her lack of playing time, but like She's not playing now. So, like, what are we doing? Like, they invented an entire scenario and outcome and, like, use it for their own confirmation bias. You got to get them in the building first, fool. Like, what are we doing? Like you're worried about that? It's like, I don't understand it. Like, Caitlyn, for her part, of course, she's media trained. She gives the media trained answer, completely diffuses the situation. It makes everybody that's, very, very serious about it almost be like, all right, we could have just waited and listened to her thoughts on it, whatever. And, she takes the gas off the pedal. Like, she's already a pro at this shit. Then her coach publicly contradicts her, which is like, what are you doing? And reveals her private combos that, Caitlyn had with her, where she's talking about, how we expect the athlete to respond. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to make them regret it. No, they woke up a monster, blah, blah, blah. And what does Caitlyn do that same day? She drops 30 on the Mystics or whatever in the biggest WNBA game in 17 years, 20,000 people there, double the amount the Chicago Sky had the night before. And I'm just like, why would you reveal like what your player is saying to you privately, or not take the time to get a consistent message out from both sides? Like, it just makes Caitlyn look like she's fake, like, and she's saying all this stuff in public, and then like the coach is like, yeah, I'm just, it's just another thing. Like, I think my biggest problem though, James, is like people wanting to make this about 100% like merit, when Olympic teams have been picked or not picked on some of the following, circumstances and scenarios. Like availability, injury availability, legend status, collegiate status, public visibility after an HIV diagnosis, history with the coach, the ability to get along with the other players, or because the star either wanted you or didn't want you on the team. Like, what are we doing? Like I saw WNBA analysts getting on TV, embarrassing themselves, just telling us what, telling us the sky is red when it's blue. That's what they're doing. And I think the easy answer for this is to dismiss it and say, oh, yeah, she'll be there in 2028. It doesn't matter. She'll play in, 4 of these or whatever throughout her career. And, let's say she does or whatever. But the moment is now. This is when everybody's looking. It's not guaranteed later on. You can't guarantee the same level of interest whether she's a better player or not, because this thing is not largely about how good she is or not. For me, she's like right on the borderline. I think you could argue from a skills standpoint, she could be on the team, or you can argue her just like out of the bottom 5 that, first 5 cuts or whatever, right? But this is where you break the game open. And, she's probably going to be better then. But James, this is just the next thing. And I've been counting them all the whole time we've been talking about it. It's just this list of things, these weird things that have just gone against her. And it's like, there's some edict or whatever where it's like, you are not special. That's what, like, someone is trying to send her a message like this. You're not special. We refuse to bend at any scenario. And everyone that cares about you should have been caring about us the entire time, just because it was the right thing to do. And it doesn't work on what's right, what's wrong. It's like, yo, we're already here. People think they have a say over how the thing is going to explode. The explosion already happened. Like, we passed that part. Like, if you were going to try to dictate terms, like, also, like, the people are choosing. Like, they're choosing her. And it's like, I just don't know how you go into Lisa Leslie. So I don't know how you leave the country without her. And I'm like, yeah, like, these are going to be blowouts. The bench people are going to be able to play a little bit, at least. I don't know, man. I just don't think they understand the opportunity they have. And they're more worried about pacifying veteran players and just trying to make it to where it's like, yeah, man, like we know she's special, but she ain't that special. Like, and they're trying to like, and they're giving in to a lot of the worst of the extremes on like, yo, she's trash. She's this white woman. She's like, it's only happening because of her race and stuff like that, which we all know is bullshit or whatever. But it's like, I don't know, man. I just think that they have a colossal opportunity. This is when women's basketball is exploding. Who knows when it's gonna feel like this again, or if it'll like contain. But you can look at her stats. Like her stats measure up with like everyone that's there. They've got Chelsea Gray out there who hasn't played a game. Like I heard so many people with their argument was name who you will replace, who you'll take off the team. I don't necessarily want to do that because that's like, you know, more tearing people down. But I'm like, all right, if you want to go that route, go there. Been on this road before. I know gunplay. You know gunplay. But that was for an audience of one, y'all. But Chelsea Gray hasn't played a game. Diana Taurasi has been to 5 of these things. She just needs a 6th. Okay, whatever. And Caitlin has better stats than her. Brittany Griner's played 1 game. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of like things like it where it feels like there's a lot of political stuff going on with this, and I don't mean the grifters and all that. What I mean is the politics of the WNBA selection committee, and the coaches that have not been, you know, involved with Caitlin. And, you know, Caitlin was unfortunately going to the national title game, so she couldn't be at the mini camps. I'm sorry. Like, I've gone long enough. I'll let James jump in.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff makes me uneasy. On one end, like, I'm with you on the idea of, like, these things have never been a meritocracy. Never. Like, the last Olympic team didn't have the fucking defending MVP. Right? It, like, Nneka Ogwumike was not on the team, right? Like, right now we have someone average 26 not on the team. You look at, you know, the men's side, like, we've, especially post 2004, the Redeem team and on, hell, since they've been pro players, since the Dream Team, they have never selected the 12 best selections given like availability to them. They've always, or especially like post 2004, they have done fit. Like they have had Michael Redd win a gold medal. They have had Tyson Chandler win a gold medal. They have had, Drew Holiday gold medal. Great player, not one of the 12 best basketball players in the world or in the country at a particular moment in time.
Going right? Again this summer, Drew Holiday.
Right. And apparently he's the first person they call now these days. And I'm assuming that's similar to like the Andre Iguodala thing back a few years ago too, right? It's about fit. And it's like, all right, well, you could put Caitlin Clark in on the team just based off the idea of we're having people for fit. We want guards that can shoot. Sabrina, Caitlin, boom, those are our 2 shooters. The same way Michael Ray used to be on the team. Like there you go. That's your excuse to put her on right there. Right now, the part that's weird for me is what people are so. If you are saying she's not deserving, I'm not disagreeing with you, but the way people are being dismissive of it is like, well, hold on. Let's not act like she hasn't been a top 20 player in the W so far this year. I understand she's been a fucking turnover machine, but like she's top 20 in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals.
Like James, you know who was
in player efficiency rating, like that's a top 20 player.
I was like, you know who gets a shitload of turnovers, James? Luka Doncic.
I mean, no. I mean, her. She's like a standard deviation beyond. Like it's like the next number 2 is like 4 points, and she's at 5.8 or something like that. Like she's turned over way too much. Don't really care, given the rest of the offensive production and the fact she's on the worst team in the NBA and she's a rookie. Like
and seeing like unprecedented defensive coverage.
For W, yeah, the amount of blitz she's received, yeah. So, like, in context of all this, is like, I'm not saying my forecast for her to be some all-time great legend, nothing like that. But like, I feel like it's pretty safe to say, regardless of the fan vote or whatever else, she's going to be a WNBA, all WNBA player at the rate this is going. So, like forget the fan voting about all-star starter or whatever. It's like she seems like a lot to be a future all WNBA voted by the media. So I don't get this part where like, given how we talked about, you know, different points in time with people in the way this thing goes with the politics, not like right wing, left wing, but the politics at play of Team USA and people having bitter, sour taste in their mouth based off of being selected or not selected, and then saying, all right, you screwed me one time, I don't want to do it with you again. Now, Caitlin has said all the right things, so it appears that she's more level-headed about this than she doesn't really have to be. But if she wanted to be like, all right, man, like, I'm like 14th in scoring, I'm 4th in assists. I couldn't practice sort of thing because I was in postseason play in the tournament. I feel like I got a raw deal here. And she says, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like this doesn't seem too dissimilar from like when they told Gilbert Arenas, like, yeah, bro, we think you're on the bubble with Kurt Heinrich. And it's like, huh? But all right, bet. And then that season he's driving 50 on people. Like it's bad play when you play these kinds of areas. Potential, it leads you to potential where like, all right, you want to play these games. What happens when there's a 2004 disaster year? Kobe's facing a sexual assault charge. Shaq's getting traded. KG gets married. Jason Kidd got traded. Ray Allen got traded. Gary Payton got traded, I believe. Like it was like you have these situations where like all these things happen, and the next thing you know, you're like, all right, it's Sean Marion, Lamar Odom, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Amari Stoudemire, LeBron as a rookie, Dwayne as a rookie, and Melo as a rookie, and like we go out there and we lose. Like you don't obviously women's basketball team is more nationally is more dominant, but it's like you don't want to play with these margins when you don't otherwise need to.
When someone could easily get married, when someone could have a child, when someone could be injured or whatever. Like they have even more variables. Or
be held hostage by the state.
Correct.
Which is why Brittany Griner was absolutely going to be on the team regardless of whatever happened, regardless if he played one game. It's very similar to like when Paul George broke his leg in that scrimmage in 2014. He's like, there's absolutely no way unless he has some type of scandal that he's not going to be on the 16 team. He was. Like, except obviously exponentially more. Like she's going to be the, she's going to be used for like, this is the feel good story of redemption or in the face of adversity, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, like I can see an argument for or against. Like if you want to leave her off, fine, but I just don't. The conversation back and forth for the people that are the part where like of course she'd been on. I'm like, hold on, I don't know about that. But the people are like, nah, who should you take off? Is like, all right, hold on too. That's like the merit thing. I'm like, you're not hitting me with merit when we've watched all these Team USA teams, men and women, and seen goofy shit involving Gina Auriemma. Miss me with that, right? So it's like, it's so I think it's all just people not actually. She has gone Caitlin Clark and the situations around here have now moved beyond, and it is long past this. Before this observation should have been made, it was like we are past talking about the WNBA and actually Caitlin Clark. These are people online and they're arguing about the people that they don't like on the other side of the argument, as opposed to what the actual thing is. And it's like, all right, man, I'm out. And and I said in a tweet, like, I'm just waiting for the time when Trump brings his ass to sit courtside at a Fever game because he's a grifter, and this is really big on the grift. It's really big on this culture war grift. They have made her into this, and like I see why people are going so hard on the other side, but it's like I understand that. Yell at those people, don't yell at her. It sounds like y'all are yelling at her, and it's like
she's not asking for any of this. I don't see how that's something
to her. What is she exactly? And there's been people that are now saying like the WNBA is our most activist league, so therefore she needs to talk. And it's like, since when have we ever said, hey, you are an athlete, therefore you have to say something? That's like, what happens when they say something you don't like? What happens when they say something now and then change their mind?
What happens when they tweet heroes and Negroes out?
Right. So like so the rush says you gotta take a stand on this, that, and the third. It's like, well, one, nothing's came up to the level where like it needs immediate attention. Like you said, Kaylan exactly talked about, black people are real Jews. That ain't happened yet. I don't think it is.
So you say there's no chance she's not a black Israelite. We can rule that out.
I don't think Caitlin Clark is a black Israelite. I do not. Okay. I do not think when she came through. I think she's from Des Moines. I don't think when she came through Metro Des Moines that she ever came across that.
Gotcha.
No, I don't think that. I don't think. Look, I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it's very unlikely. I mean, look, unless she, given her age, maybe her dad was some Wu-Tang. I don't know.
Yeah. Look. They all ain't activists. Black Sabres Jr. in the comments, ain't there a girl on the Mercury, a whole MAGA representative? Yes. I believe her name is Sophie Cunningham. Been in this league for years, by the way. So, like, I don't know, man.
Look. That don't surprise me that there's MAGA players in the W or in the NBA, right? Like, that's a thing. I mean, hell. What's your boy, Jonathan Isaacs?
Yeah.
In Orlando? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like what I want people to kind of think about on this is like, I think painting people with the wide brush on this. Like, yes, it's gonna be easy to look at it like, yo, a lot of like Stephen A. Smith's on TV, and I think he's making some good points, but a lot of people think he's not, and it's like, some of that stuff is framing, and then he's sitting there with two black women on the TV, and it looks like
he's yelling over them, interrupting them, and Shannon is too. And I'm like, this is bad. And I'm just like, and also one, like, I wish this show had been in these types of shows were shot into the sun to die and burn a miserable death like a decade ago. You know that. Like, before we started the show, I was like, I'm not doing that. So, like, yeah, when it's like this is the reason why. It's like, I see the clip, I'm like, this looks awful. This looks awful. And like the conversation, Stephen A. Smith is funny and being dismissive, but it's like, I mean, the point they're making is Merritt versus Cheney and Andrea are making is Merritt versus Stephen A. Smith and Shannon's part, which is like, this thing that Stephen A. Smith keeps getting himself in trouble with is like, he believes in uplifting the black people via capitalism, and I'm like, nah, brother, I you've been very successful, good for you, but like, capitalism is a construct of white supremacy. It can uplift some black people. It ain't uplifting all black people. So like, you might want to do a little more due diligence on that. But that's his worldview, because I imagine that would be my worldview if I had 8 figures based off being able to talk.
Yeah.
And obviously I don't mean that just to belittle his whole career as a journalist and everything else and the whole grind he had to do in all these different sports to get to where he is. But he's made most of his bread off of being opinionated and charismatic and funny as hell, right? Like, he had to do groundwork to get to that point, but the money was made mostly off of that. So, like, his worldview is shaped by that. And it's like, I understand what you're saying, but like, you're also saying you must also realize that, like, people hold the Olympics, even though they shouldn't, is a fallacy of like amateurism and all that kind of stuff, to a certain level of merit, even above the pro sports. And also, he's also ignoring, I think people also ignoring this to a extent, like, the WNBA and Team USA basketball are not the same entity. A lot of overlap, tons of overlap, but they're not the same entity. They have different agendas and different masters to serve. A lot of them are the same, but they're not all the same. So I think that's another part of it. But yeah, like, it is a bad look that when your fundamental statement is you should turn this shit into to an extent. If someone's arguing merit, right? Their argument is more dignified and virtuous than someone saying, "Hey man, turn this shit into wrestling and push somebody." you must admit, turn this shit into wrestling and give somebody a push. That's what they're arguing for. And I get what they're saying because I don't understand the history of it.
Oh, they thirsty. They got their mouths open. They begging for it. Like Keith Sweat. They're begging for it for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Give them Caitlin Clark.
I see the. It wouldn't bother me either way, because there is absolutely a merit argument you can make of. For team fit, she's a shooter. Sabrina was gonna make her regardless, but like you put her too because like in case she goes down, you have the depth of you have a shooter there. Also it's like you can also use that excuse because y'all gonna blow everybody out anyway.
Look, let her be the victory cigar.
USA basketball for fuck's sake,
bro. Let her be the victory cigar.
Competition this woman got professionally played in the shit. Yeah.
Let her be the victory cigar, come in with 5 minutes left in the game and pull from 30. Like, I guarantee you people would have went crazy. Crazy, James. They'd have gone crazy.
Yeah, and also, you know, I'm with you on the part where, like, look, if she was on the team, you bring her out there, she'd be the victory cigar, she'd be the Darko Milicic, right?
Or she might just be really good because she's actually going to be around good players. Have you considered that? Like,
right. I'm with you on that. And it's like, you know, you do all this stuff, and like, when there are more eyes, you can see like the greatness of A'ja Wilson, the greatness of Alyssa Thomas, right? The greatness of Kelsey Plum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm with you on all that. Like the final send off of Diana Taurasi. That seemingly, since 4 years ago when she had the last single with Sue Bird, it seemed the only reason why she's even still playing is to get to the one last Olympic gold medal. So, like, yeah, I'm with you on a lot of that stuff. But one way or the other, I don't really care one or the other. I just see both sides. I'm like, y'all are far really polarized. The middle idea on all this, how this should go or whatever else, I can see it go one way or the other. You can justify one way or the other, but like y'all are too busy yelling about this because y'all don't like the other side of this for reasons that have nothing actually to do with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. The team that ended up making was A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, Diana Taurasi, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young, and Kalia Copper. A lot of great players there. You're not looking at this thing like, what are they doing?
Oh, girl from Dallas got left off at 26 points a game.
Yeah. Enrique, I cannot say her last name. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah. I'd have butchered it too.
Yeah, but
I only know how to pronounce Agumake because she need to be on the TV. She need to be looking good on the TV too. But that's neither here nor there. But just had to state it.
For the record,
just for the record.
But yeah, man, like it's just become so much like, and I try to consume kind of all spectrums of this. Not look, I'm not clicking on no Outkick.
Excuse me?
I'm not clicking on no Dave Portnoy or nothing.
No, look at the screen. You almost told on yourself. Go ahead.
So like I try to listen to a lot of people talk about this or whatever, and then the second I hear them wading into that bullshit, I'm like, all right, I'm done, and then like X them off the list. So there's so much I think to it, and like this has all become radicalized, and it's like, damn, man, like I just saw this chick pulling for 35 at Iowa and said, I'm with it. That's all I got in for, right? And then who knew that she was going to be this representation of what people feel is wrong with the world, like just on either side. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to say I don't care that much about it, but it's like I just think people making it up as they go, like, and kind of refusing to admit what she's bringing to the table. I think it's ridiculous to dismiss her in the way a lot of people have.
Yeah. Especially when it's like she's been really good, despite like the team she's been on, the weird fit, the weird coaching decisions, the crazy schedule, the lack of time off between advancing that, getting all the way to the final, and the start of the season. Yeah, it's just strange how this is all like. And in a weird way, maybe that's what's kept this whole thing hot, because like she went straight from like having those huge ratings, in the Final Four, in the in the championship game, and then like she's playing immediately. Like maybe that was the best. Maybe if this was like a like the NBA where like you get to the Final Four, then like and then Zion doesn't get his first game until October. Maybe it does cool down, and that does like hurt like the eyes watching the product of the WNBA. Maybe it does. I don't know.
I'll tell you this though, what was going to be the highest rated Team USA game?
Yeah.
It's going to be Team USA versus the WNBA All-Stars. It's going to be Caitlin versus Team USA.
Yeah.
And that is appointment television in the Latta household. I can't wait, in the words of Sleepy Brown.
I guess time to talk to the other basketball, the men's hoops.
The niggas. As Rick Ross will say.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So since he said that we talking about Rick Ross, you think since we talked about it earlier, you think Caitlin Clark talking about the pastrami posse? You think so? Do you think we ever get the Kyrie Irving, Rick Ross, and Caitlin Clark photo op?
Oh my god! So like, bro,
if that happens, that's like,
I know nothing about.
I changed everything. I changed everything I said. I
know nothing about Caitlin Clark, and bro, I almost don't desire to know nothing about Caitlin Clark. Like this. I'm good. I don't.
Bro, the things people project on her is crazy. Remember when during that one game?
Yeah.
About that one tweet. It was like how she keeps it. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like and that shit did double platinum.
I know.
In likes and engagement. Like everything. Everybody's willing to talk about this woman. It is crazy in any kind of way disrespectful. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it don't seem like it don't seem no one's like, she don't. I think the part where it also is like eventually she's got to speak up for herself as far as defending herself.
Yeah.
Like that's something to be said about that. Like you can't just let people just talk about, run your name through the mud like that without standing up for yourself. They're gonna treat you like your punching bag eventually, and eventually, she'll have her break, which is all right, enough. But she seems to try to, turn the other cheek. And I'm telling you, you keep turning the other cheek, they're gonna punch the other one.
Yeah, I've definitely seen an athlete not defend himself for years and years and years, and like seeing people come up with whatever they want to say about him.
I mean, there's one I can think of in particular, Donovan McNabb, back when he was at Philly. Like that was rough. But who are you talking about?
Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah.
But NBA Finals 2024, man, the Dallas Mavericks